Back on Wednesday Night Baseball, just a couple minutes from now, you will see the Pittsburgh Pirates facing Hideo Nomo and the Los Angeles Dodgers. We are just a couple minutes away from that one. One already in the books, under the sun, Cubs and Giants earlier today. Kevin Foster, just 2 days after his father's death, back on the hill. Bottom of the fourth, Cubs up 1-0. Foster, a perfect game. Lewis to left center. Scott Bullitt keeps that perfect game alive. Two batters later, Barry Bonds. The changeup gets him. He's perfect through four. Bottom of the sixth, no out, still perfect. J.R. Phillips gets it underneath Sean Dunston. First man to reach off Foster. The Cubs still up 1-0. Meanwhile, Portugal cruising as well. Dunston sits. Portugal retired 20 in a row at one point. Bottom of the seventh, still 1-0. One on. Bonds does some yard work. A two-run shot. Look where it lands. 412 feet away. Third home run of the year. Breaks a 1-for-14 slump. Giants up 2-1. That is how they win it. Spoiling a great effort from Foster, who went 7 innings, gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, and he struck out 5. The Phillies and Marlins still going on. Schilling and Hammond put on a pitching show in that one. Cincinnati up 4-2 over Montreal. Houston 7-1 over the Mets. Pittsburgh and L.A. still to come. St. Louis and San Diego yet to get underway. Back to that pitching matchup, Philadelphia and Florida. Hammond took a no-hitter into the 7th. He then gave up a hit. Kurt Schilling struck out a major league high, ties a major league high. He struck out 12. Apier, the other pitcher there, with 12 Ks this season. They are tied at 1. They are into the 13th in that one. We are working our way towards the Dodgers and Pirates. When we come back, we'll give you the American League story. The American League story consists of another great day for Mo Vaughn and the Red Sox. All right, we will now get you to both games right after this break. Stay with us on Wednesday Night Baseball. Wednesday Night Baseball, the American League story, and it has been the Red Sox so far this season. Against the Brewers, Mo Vaughn stealing his 5th base of the season. He is yet to be caught, although he was left stranded on this play. The Red Sox doing it without Clemens, doing it without Canseco, who today was put on the 15-day DL. Mo Vaughn had 2 home runs last night in this game. He drives in some runs via the single. Alisea Tinsley, it's 4-0 Red Sox, and Vaughn playing D as well here. He starts the double play. John Jaha out despite the attempt to avoid the tag by John Valentin. And even when he doesn't get a hit, Vaughn's fun to watch. His line drive, Darrell Hamilton robs him with the glove, and Mo Vaughn said, I hit that so well, but he robbed him. Top of the 7th, 5-0 Vaughn facing bonus again, and the hit dog strokes the 1-2 pitch to center. Tinsley scores again. The Red Sox go on to win it by a final score of 8-2 again. Jose Canseco, the 15-day DL because of a pulled groin. He can come back on May 30th. Baltimore over Detroit 7-4, and that is a final. Cleveland, New York postponed because of rain. In the Rangers-Blue Jays game, Dean Palmer's got a couple of home runs. Seattle, Kansas City 0-0 in the 5th. Randy Johnson out of that one. Minnesota over California. Oakland leading Chicago. Will update you on those late games. Now time to get you to your games.
In Japan, he was known as the Tornado. Tonight, Hideo Nomo makes his 4th start in the States, looking for his first Major League win. It's a perfect night to be in Southern California as we welcome you to Dodger Stadium. And it's Game 3 of a 4-game set between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Hi, everybody. Joel Meyers along with Joe Morgan, and welcome to Dodger Stadium. Well, Hideo Nomo, the Japanese all-star, making his 4th start tonight. An unusual pitching style, to say the least, Joe.
Well, one of the reasons that he has struck out so many hitters this early is because he does have a different release point. As a hitter, you look for the ball to come from a certain point, and he's throwing differently. First, he gives you the elbow, then he throws his glove at you, and the ball follows after that. Plus, it's 90 miles an hour, so that's why he's been successful striking people out.
Last year's Rookie of the Year, Raul Mondesi, off to a phenomenal start once again for Los Angeles. No signs, at least at this early stage, of the sophomore jinx.
Well, last year, Manny Mota told me before the season started, watch out for this young fella. He's going to be a star. This year, Reggie Smith says he is already a star. And when I talked to Tommy Lasorda, he feels like Raul Mondesi could be the MVP in the National League in '95. So a lot of potential there in this young fella.
Strong statement. Change in the starting lineup for Jim Leyland's Pirates tonight. Jeff King has started every game so far, but Freddie Garcia goes tonight at 3rd.
Well, Jeff King has been a real bright spot for the Pittsburgh Pirates. They don't have that many. But when I talked to Jim Leland, he was very enthusiastic about Freddie Garcia. He hasn't played much. He's a Rule 5 draft choice from the Toronto Blue Jays, so they're going to keep him all year. But he feels like with some seasoning, this guy is going to be an impact player in the major leagues.
Well, 30 million households in Japan watching tonight's game. Why? Hideo Nomo, a 5-time Japanese All-Star starting for Los Angeles. Be right back to Dodger Stadium. Game time temperature in the low 70s right now at Dodger Stadium. And welcome back once again. Joel Meyers along with Joe Morgan. Jim Leland's Pirates snapped a 3-game losing streak last night and no longer on the dubious distinction of the worst record in the majors. That is owned right now by the Florida Marlins. They are now at 5-13. Marlins at 5-14. And the starting lineup tonight for Jim Leland: Jacob Brumfield's out in center field. Jay Belliver at short with Al Martin, the Southern Californian, in left field. Dave Clark, he's the cleanup man in right field with Mark Johnson at first base. Nelson Laureano at second. The catcher Mark Parent. Freddie Garcia, who we documented at the top of the telecast with that start over at third. And Rick White, the starting pitcher. So we're just about ready to go. And Tommy Lasorda's Dodgers, well, they've got a lot of young arms. They're very excited about the homegrown talent as well. And Hideo Nomo, you'll enjoy watching his pitching style, as Joe said, to pick up on his release point. The delivery, an interesting one, and we'll look at some other interesting deliveries later. I know the guys in the truck have looked back at tapes of Louis Tiant, Gene Garber as well. Hides it pretty well, doesn't he, Joe?
Yes, well, he hides the ball well. His first start this year, he pitched against the Giants, and he was almost perfect. I mean, he has struck out a lot of hitters, but he's also been a little erratic with his control. And the one thing that you'll notice is he'll wind and he leans way back, and he'll throw his elbow at you first, then his arm glove, and then here comes the ball. But it also has a very slow motion in delivery to the plate, so has a lot of problems holding runners on base. Let's take a look at the Dodger defense. Between Dave Hansen, and Gary Ingram, they have not played very well at third base. You know, they've made 9 of the team's 27 errors. But the Dodgers do expect Tim Wallach to be back on this next road trip, which means in the next 5 to 10 days he'll be back. And there's Dave Hansen. He'll be over at third base tonight.
Defensively, Dodgers dead last in the National League.
And that's not a new story for the Dodgers. No. You know, the Dodgers have never had a very good defense. It's really weird. Even in the years when they had some great players here, when you had Steve Garvey, Davey Lopes, Bill Russell, and Ron Say at third, they were not one of the top fielding, infields in baseball. But at that time, I thought it was the infield, because the Dodger Stadium infield has never been one of the better surfaces to play, on the infield.
The men in blue tonight, home plate umpire Kerwin Dantley, and this is a very young crew for the most part, with Jeff Kellogg at first. Second base umpire is Brian Gorman, Tom's son, and of course the crew chief is Harry Wendelstedt.
Wendelstedt and myself, we've done a lot of miles together. We and Harry and Jim Wynn, we all go back, and Lee Wire, who passed away. Lee Wire was his partner, and Jimmy Wynn was my roommate. We pounded a lot of streets together. I mean, in good ways. After the game, we'd get rides back to the hotel in the taxis,
Sure.
Real good guy.
Talk your way out of that one, partner.
A real good guy.
Jacob Brumfield spent his last couple of seasons with the Cincinnati Reds. First year, as he was acquired during the offseason. Pittsburgh sent outfielder Danny Clyburn to Cincinnati. He will lead things off at that .217 average. And Pittsburgh has had problems manufacturing runs in this early portion of the season as Nomo gets the first one over.
I think as a hitter, you should take a pitch just to try to figure out his motion and where the ball's going to come from.
Late on the fastball, a high, hard one, 0-2. Now, the last start, and you were talking about it, Joe, it was against the Cardinals. That was his third major league start on the 12th. Did not allow a hit, but he walked 7 in 4 innings of work. So at the end of 4 innings, Joe Torre's squad on the board here had 3 0-6 for their totals because the Cardinals had committed 6 errors. Torre looked at it, and the next day he said, that'd be okay if it was your lifetime batting average.
Right. Well, Let me give you, from a hitter's perspective, to hit a guy like Nomo, Louis Tiant, some of the guys with weird windups, you have to eliminate the windup. You don't even watch his windup. You do not look until he is ready to deliver the ball to the plate. You look over his right shoulder at that time. But you do not watch all the windup. You don't watch all the back turning. You don't watch anything because it doesn't do any good.
The 1-2. Bottom dropped out of that one.
But with the unusual windup, he will strike out a lot of hitters. But I think as they get a chance to look at him the second time, third time around the league, you'll see a little difference in his strikeout ratio. Good off-speed pitch there. Looked like a changeup.
Brings up the shortstop, Jay Bell. It's the fastball. Nomo reached 1,000 career strikeouts faster than any other player in the history of pro baseball in Japan. So there's plenty of getting up there. But it's been 30 years since there was a Japanese pitcher to have any kind of success at all in the majors. Off the end of the bat, out of play, late on that fastball. 0-2. So he starts off, Joe, the first two with two fastballs.
Well, I think he should start every hitter off with a fastball the first time around the order, because they're going to be trying to find his release point, and he can jump ahead.
High and wide, 1-2.
And I guess Dodger Stadium has been a stage for a lot of foreign players to ply their trade. Fernando Valenzuela, of course, was a big hit here.
In living in Southern California, because of the labor stoppage, the work stoppage, there was more speculation surrounding Chan-Ho Park last year.
Yes.
The young man from Korea, actually, than Nomo, who had all the experience in pro baseball in Japan. The 2-2 now to Jay Bell. Painted the black. Not a bad way to start.
Again, you can get fooled a lot of times if you watch all the wind-up, all the slow motion, and not pick the ball up out of all this. And Jay Bell thinks this pitch is outside, and they said this right on the outside corner. Kerwin Dantley says strike 3, so he struck out 2 hitters here. Start off the ball game. Let's see how he does against a left-handed hitter and see if a left-hander can pick up his ball a little better than a right-hander.
Linebacker Al Martin takes it downstairs for ball 1. Talk about a great bot. 6'2", 225. He can take you out on the double play. 233 so far this season. 286 last year. Injuries really slowed him down last season, though. Off-speed delivery. 2-0. So he is falling behind Al Martin. First hitter he's had to work from behind in the count.
I don't have a statistic, but I would bet that a lot of the hitters that he has walked have been left-handed hitters.
Ripped on a one-hopper to Delino to Shields. Well timed well by Martin, but right at the second baseman. So 1-2-3 first for Hideo Nomo. We'll be right back to Dodger Stadium.
Hi, I'm Ozzie Smith of the St. Louis Cardinals. My new video from ESPN will teach you the skills and strategies you need to improve your baseball game. You'll learn how to give signs, take a lead, steal a base, turn a double play, hit pitch, and a whole lot more. It will make you a better ball player.
To order Let's Play Baseball with Ozzie Smith, call 1-800-717-ESPN. Only $14.98 plus $4 shipping and handling.
This week, Sunday Night Baseball comes to you live from the Murph, where once again, Tony's flirting with 400, and the Padres are looking to make a run in the West. Pittsburgh visits San Diego, Sunday at 8, only on ESPN.
No score as the Dodgers get ready to hit for the first time. Tommy Lasorda with a victory tonight will tie Clark Griffith for 14th on the managerial win list. Second all-time among active managers behind Sparky. And the Dodger lineup, for the most part, the same About a couple missing. We'll talk about the injuries, of course. DeShields at second, Hoffman at short, Mondesi out in center, then Karros, Rodriguez, and Ashley. Ashley, a nice start at home. Different story on the road with Hansen, Hernandez, and Nomo. 2 names missing, though. Hernandez is behind the plate for injured Mike Piazza. And at third, Tim Wallach expected back just in a couple of days. Rick White getting that start tonight. Another right-hander, Joe.
Well, Rick White is a sinker slider pitcher. And the one thing that Jim Leland did tell me about his ball club that he likes is he says he has some young quality pitchers that may become, you know, top-line starters and relievers in the next 6 months.
Well, he's got some young arms, and that's one of the reasons he's working for the most part on a 4-man rotation. Good breaking ball. Strike 1 to Delino DeShields. DeShields hitting .222 after hitting .250 last year. Another breaker. Looked like a slider bending in on the left-handed hitter.
That was a good breaking ball there for a strike.
DeShields coming into the contest with a 5-game hitting streak. And obviously he wasn't looking for the fastball down the middle.
Well, Rick White is as impressive as Nomo, just doing it in a different fashion. He's doing it the old-fashioned way with a good hard fastball and a sinker. With an 0-2 pitch, his fastball is pretty much down the middle, about knee-high.
Number 30.
Well, he can't take that pitch anyway with 0-2, but it looked like a very good pitch. He didn't really argue, he just walked away. That's one of the problems I've always had with Delino DeShields. He should be a much better contact hitter than he is. He strikes out entirely too much to be a leadoff hitter and to be a guy that doesn't hit 20 or 30 home runs. He has the potential. He just needs to cut down on his swing.
One of the best stories during this early season at the plate right now for the Dodgers, Jose Offerman, the shortstop. .210 last year, sent down on June 27th. And now a .375 start. Sounded like he broke his bat on that grounder. And that is out number 2.
Well, we talked about the Pirates and without Jeff King, and they have a quarterback at first base, Johnson, but over at third base is Freddie Garcia, and he's only played just a little bit at A-ball, but they also grabbed him out of the Toronto Blue Jays chain. The Toronto Blue Jays have had a lot of good young players, and Jim Leland really feels like he's going to be an impact player one of these days. Of course, not right now, but eventually he's going to be an impact player. He's going to be a star, he said.
And an opportunity for the young man due to the Rule 5 draft, and that has helped a lot of players.
Well, what the Rule 5 draft does is help get you out of an organization where you may not have a chance to move up. But in this case, he's going to have to stay with the Pirates all year. I don't know how much that's going to impede his progress in the future. You'd like to make a deal with the Toronto Blue Jays and be able to send Garcia down so he can get his at-bats.
Now, Raul Mondesi has 4 home runs this year in the first inning. 4 of his 7 have come in the first inning. Hit a 3-run shot in the first against the Cardinals. So he pulls this one foul. It's now 2 balls and a strike.
Joel, if you stand around the batting cage and you watch this guy take batting practice, he just takes an easy swing and the ball just jumps off his bat. That tells you that he's really strong and he has really strong hands. And Reggie Smith has really worked with him, along with Wallach, along with Karros and some of these other guys. And you can see the difference in 1 year in Raul Mondesi because he handles the breaking ball better now.
Right the middle.
And that pitch last year gave him problems even though he was Rookie of the Year. He had problems with the curveball. This is a curveball he waits on and drills it right back through the middle.
And that makes it a 6-game hitting streak now for Mondesi.
Now watch, this is a breaking ball, and watch, he'll flinch a little bit right there. See him? He kind of flinched, but he waited on it and just drilled it back through the middle. Last year he was trying to pull that pitch a lot. He'd swing and miss it or hit weak ground balls to shortstop. So you can see right there.